I begin, by the way, if you want to understand the United States of America and relations, all relations, you have to go back to the 1600s. And I start with a story by a man by the name of John Caesar. John Caesar was an indentured servant. In the mid-1600s, you worked for a man by the name of Anthony Johnson. Indentured servitude means that you work for 2 to 7 years under contract, after which time you get a piece of land, you go work it on your own. You can be prosperous as you want to be. He worked for a man by the name of Anthony Johnson. And one day he got up and left and walked off. He said, "I've done my service, I'm leaving." Anthony Johnson said, "You can't leave." And Anthony Johnson said, "I'm going to sue you." So he sued Perkins and Caesar in court and said, "You need to come back and work for me." The court said, "We believe Anthony Johnson. John Caesar, you need to go back and work for him for the rest of your life." And they made a slave out of John Caesar. The courts made a slave out of John Caesar. Would you guys like to meet Anthony Johnson? Anthony Johnson became the first official slave owner in the colonies. Has anybody ever heard that before?
No.
Is that strange?
Yes.
Raise your hand if you think that's strange. Everybody does, right? Guess what? It isn't. It isn't strange at all. The reason is because this is the mid-1600s. The color line had not been invented for another 40 or 50 years. In other words, Anthony Johnson and John Caesar didn't look at each other and say, "I am owned by a black man and a black man owns me." Or "I own a black man." They didn't see each other that way. Obviously, they came from the same nation, the African nation. But they didn't see each other as people of color. We do today because we have a few hundred years of doing it. But they did not because the color line had not existed yet. People of different colors owned all kinds of people of different colors all the way up until then.